Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and tonight I am so happy to be joined by all these nerds. We're gonna be playing 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, the Those Bastards game, season 2, with our fantastic dungeon master Robin R. Miller, and we also have Stephen Partridge in the house. Down below in the description, you can find links to track them across the interwebs. With that, I'm just gonna throw it over to the GM.
Okay. Yeah, for just a second there, I was hearing you twice because I had the window open. All right. Salutations, nerds. I am Robin Miller, writer of weird fiction. I'm going to just throw us right in today after the recap. I'll roll the D4. Whoever it lands on will start the recap. Prudence, that's going to be you. You are muted.
I unmuted myself because I know things. Yes. So, I think I'm gonna leave the exciting bits for other people, and I'm gonna say that one of my favorite parts of what we did last time related to the orc children that we found in the half sunken pirate ship. I don't think it's actually a pirate ship, but in my mind it's a pirate ship, so that's just where it is in my head canon. And they have this Lost Boys sort of hangout there, and we taught them survival skills. We got to interact with them. Unga did not kill them. Lurza is their leader, and we found out that Lurza and
Marzan.
Huh?
Marzan.
Marzan. They are both Unga's big siblings, but now little siblings. It's a whole finagly timey-wimey bit. And that's where I'll leave it.
Who are you passing it to?
Let's pass it to Doug.
All right. Hey, I'm Nerder Doug. I'm playing Vent, Fire Genasi Barbarian. And that timey-wimey stuff was caused by a Sphinx who we're not 100% sure, but I think it is freezing the orc adults in time and using them to do things for them, but not freezing the orc children in time. So maybe they can grow up and be tough. I'm not really sure. But anyways, there's a Sphinx involved who's far away from us, and we were hanging out with these and just falling in love with these kids because they're awesome. While we were waiting for while we were planning for the journey that we have to take. And I will pass it to Dave.
That Sphinx in question is Cheyenne, and I am playing Unga, the half-orc Beastmaster Ranger. And we've already kind of figured, the kids have told us how to get to where Cheyenne is, and we've summoned our fantasy Uber via Myth, our other sister, who will hopefully come and escort us there because we have some questions that we need answered that only Cheyenne at this point can answer. But before then, we did go on a little side excursion, so at that point, I think it's a good time to throw it to Ted.
Hey everybody, Nerdarchy Ted. I'll be playing Galason Trisrel. And speaking of the Trisrels, we're currently there. We're at my family's estate. We had some time while we're waiting for the aforementioned ship to take us to where Cheyenne is, as well as Cheyenne has Unga's mother. We don't know whether she's frozen or not, but she's supposedly with them, with the Sphinx. So it's well, time to kill. We're close to where Sin grew up. Let's go and pay a nice family visit. So we spent some time talking to my mother, who greeted us and did all the cordial stuff and was happy to see me. Passed me over a box of my old things, some of which I cared about, some of things I totally just lied and was ecstatic to see it anyway. And when we inquired about grandfather, it's he should be returning any moment. And we ended with grandfather coming in, me standing proud, saying, this is my traveling companion and brother, Prince Vent. Prince Vent, my grandfather.
So
yeah. And Vent will bow to this elf graciously because he is representing the city of Leicester, making sure not to look him directly in the eyes, as is his custom.
Unga will also follow suit, and he will hood his eyes as he does.
he Grandpa Trisrell is just like, his face is turning this really intense shade of purple as he tries not to explode. He sputters a little bit, like takes a moment to compose himself.
Good eating grin on my face.
My apologies for my lack of decorum. I was not expecting visitors.
It's perfectly all right. It was an impromptu visit. We certainly appreciate the hospitality of your estate.
Oh, if I had had the time to prepare, we would have had a better reception for you here this night. And he's an older elf. Like, he even looks older for an elf. Like, most of the time it takes them a very long time to start showing signs of age, but he's got like this hint of a receding hairline around the temples and the severe face that's just, always looks sour. He's just got that like pinched cheeks look going on.
So I'll then, kind of, as soon as there's a moment to insert, I'll of course, introduce, Unga and Prudence and Luval, and then I'm just gonna assume that Calden is like standing behind me, and I will just like ever so gracefully slide to the side, and of course you would remember Calden.
And then his face starts turning purple all over again. And Calden just grins the same shit-eating grin that you just gave him and does a little finger wave. And Grandpa Trisrell is just, like, he raises a hand, starts to speak, stops himself. Of course, you are as welcome under this roof as you were the first couple of times you came. And Colton was like, I pretty much expected to hear that.
So great.
And he's like, so would you mind pointing me toward the washroom then? And your mother kind of stands up and motions him out of the room, leaving the floor to you.
Grandfather, this is my family. These are the family that has accepted me, taken me in where you never wanted me.
I would say that that's a rather extreme view. We did keep you.
Yes, but there is a difference between being kept and being wanted. You made it a regular point to remind me of how I was born and what I did to the family name just by existing.
Which I am sure had nothing at all to do with your social skills. Now, you're all here. And there is a certain protocol to be followed when there are visitors. So if you would stay for dinner, we'll make sure that it is something noteworthy.
Now,
I like the sound of that.
I'm told that there are some issues in regards to little minor thefts. I'm certain you are aware of things.
I was hoping you would not be.
How? Let me start again, please. It has been some time since I have been here. I do not know what the current state of the family coffers are, but the ones behind the minor thefts are not but children who have no
Unga will instantly like lean right into Galason and give him a sharp elbow and whisper in his ear, "Stitches and snitches get stitches. What are you doing?"
I'm looking for, and I'll like kind of position myself walking between Unga and grandfather. We're looking to solve that problem, but in the interim, if there is a way to gather actual food that would stop the theft as opposed to, seeing it continue.
They're not stealing food. They're trying to steal the magic stuff. And he's like muttering under his breath.
You want me to feed these urchins that keep robbing my home?
I do. You're going to solve the problem so that they aren't taking anything. But in the meantime, they need to be fed.
And I suppose you want me to invite them to dinner then.
I don't. I would like a week or two's worth of food that we could travel away from here when we leave.
Make an insight check.
Oh, that's a 23.
So he is trying very hard not to show it, and he's doing a very good job not showing it, but you have known this man for years, and you know the small signs in his face. There's something he's not telling you, and it is in the interest of preserving his own pride. You can see him doing the mental math, counting coppers, trying to figure out how he's going to pay for this request or how to deny it to you in a way that doesn't make him look bad.
Grandfather, would you like to have a conversation in private to discuss this?
That might be in order.
Well, we could certainly spend the time to clean up from our journeys if you need to speak with your grandfather, Gleason.
Thank you, dear brother. And I'll, nod to everyone else. Obviously, Mother and Calden have stepped off. I don't know if Luval went with Calden or if literally we left two people who have coupled together before alone.
No, Luval definitely went.
Yeah, I kind of just assumed they're like Calden's guardian now.
Yes.
That's what
Like,
they
until you tell them otherwise, yes. So he does say that Eleandrilla will show you to the guest rooms. And that's your mother's name, Sin. So he then proceeds to motion you off to an antechamber.
All right.
And so it's like it's a small room, round table, squishy armchairs on either side. He doesn't sit down. Instead, he stands with his hands folded behind his back and his back like ramrods straight.
So I will gladly, whatever would be to where he positions himself, the opposite. I will comfortably position myself in a chair, relaxed as all can be. Did not mean to put you on the spot. It was not my intention to come here at all. But as we are chasing down family, as it would seem, we happen to appear not far from the family land. My siblings' insistence of coming to, see more family, introduce them. I couldn't deny them that. If I have put you out, I do apologize.
It isn't that. I have an idea just how many children there are that have been robbing us in recent days. And your disappearance caused as much of a scandal as your birth did.
Well, as I've stated, I do not feel that you have ever made my presence here welcome. And when I was old enough to travel on my own, I did so. And I did the good with what skills I was given. I found some new talents. I've met some shady people here and there. I dare say the life that you forced me into was one I would not be proud to highlight, but where I've been since I met the young prince there, that I can say I'm incredibly proud of. And I'll just kind of like call forth the light of the star in one hand and shadow in the other. just kind of like let it dance around my fingers before I just let it ebb.
And then it seems you've found a path to walk, but that does not make me suddenly sprout the resources to honor your request.
But if indeed it is of any challenge, I do have some coin so that even if I have to pay for it myself, I would be willing to do so.
And he looks like he is swallowing acid in that moment. I will consider your request. I may come back with one of my own. But for the time being, we shall say that it will be done on the grounds that it puts a stop to these little pilferings that are happening, because it is not food that they are taking.
I will do my best to see that it be stopped, but I can tell you that the root cause of the theft is what we are seeking to deal with. It is not,
And that would be?
it is perhaps best that we leave you out of this little thing, but it is not an individual, but a being.
I see. I will take some time to think on this. And without the proper farewell, without the proper decorum, he's just going to turn and leave the room.
Sure. So I'll take a moment and just kind of watch, and I'm looking for that, that telltale sign of, the just like the knot in his neck forming throughout all of this as he walks away. And if I happen to notice it as he, kind of turns, I'll just kind of smile and just sit there for a moment before I go and, reconnect with the others.
Oh, you certainly do. You have wrecked this man's whole week. Congratulations. Now, cutting back to the rest of the party, you find Calden, Eliandrila, and Louvel just kind of walking down the hall, and like she's pointing out things through the windows between the doors. And
Like sort of just a casual tour, like showing around the house sort of thing.
they're like things that have changed mostly because he's been here before.
Oh yeah.
So it's like on one side of the wall, there's a big extended balcony that kind of wraps around farther than where the doors that lead out to it go and where the windows are. And then on the other side, there are just doors that you assume lead into rooms. It's a very long hallway too. They've got a big house.
This is a wonderful home, Miss. It looks very old. You must have collected quite a lot of curios over the years in these halls and rooms.
Well, my father certainly has, and I've added a couple of my own, but I've not traveled quite so extensively, you understand. Now, we do have a few artifacts, but they're supposed to be under lockdown, and really, I'm not supposed to be talking about them at all. You want to see?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't come all the way from Leicester to here to be teased about such fantastic relics.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's cool.
No, she gets this absolutely impish grin and motions you to the door at the end of the hall. When she tries it, it's locked. And then she kind of like looks over her shoulder. You see her cast a spell, step back and cast another spell, and then go forward and open the door.
An accomplished magician.
Oh, I've snuck off a book or two. And like walks up the spiral staircase and motions you along. Of course, Calden is right behind her.
I'll sort of like lean over to Gellison and say like, "Your mom seems really nice."
Have I caught up to them, or is this
Yeah, I'm gonna say it took them long enough to get there that you can also be in this scene.
We were walking really slow and
Yeah.
chatting by doorways and such.
Taking
eyes
it to
managing.
fights.
Yes, my mother has always been nice, but grandfather has always been in charge, and I've been away for some time, so perhaps she's managed to grow a thicker skin in dealing with him.
Well, she's sneaking into where he keeps all the artifacts. Might be able to spot that thing those kids were looking for.
Or, perhaps it is just the influence of father.
Yeah,
What were the kids looking for?
they didn't say, just some big magic, basically, right? Like there isn't like they didn't even know. They were just supposed to get like stuff that was. But I think there was like a particular thing that Cheyenne wanted. Oh, it was a mirror. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how the Sphinx ever thought my siblings were going to infiltrate this place and get in here.
They're pretty crafty, just like you. Okay.
Yeah, but they don't know how to use spells.
Oh, you
Sin's
mean
mom-
in here?
Yeah. Sin's mom had to use spells.
And
Yeah, that is
Lubel
a good
just
question.
straightens a little bit and says, "Bold of you to assume they don't know how to use a simple lockpick," and then walks up the stairs.
Well, I thought maybe there was like a magical alarm or a trap or something.
I suppose that's possible.
You know how these magic people are. They just like to use their magic for
I
everything.
mean, I'm not real good with math, but she casted 2 spells. So one was probably to unlock it, but what did the other one do?
Hopefully we won't find out. Could have been any
Does
kind
anybody want to make an Arcana check?
Yeah, sure.
If you know.
I actually am proficient in that. But I only got a 10. So, no. But I'll mumble some gobbledygook.
Oh yeah,
about what I
anybody that
think.
wants to can make this check.
I got a natural 1. Oh my gosh, that's how tonight's going.
Well,
Get them out now. Get them out now.
a mystery.
Mhm.
So at the top of the staircase, there is a bigger room than you expected from the size of the tower from the outside. There might be some magical shenanigans going on in here, but it is round and there are shelves upon shelves, like just as like surrounding with one window looking out over the courtyard. And all of these shelves are full of artifacts that have been contained in this room. Excuse me. They are held in these like rounded force fields, and some of them are just sitting there, and you get an idea of how dangerous they are based on the amount of protection that's surrounding the items. There's wands, there's crystals, there are a couple of just orbs that are sitting there right in a row, but you can like sort of see like memories reflected on the surfaces. Like all kinds of weird things. There's a jar of eyeballs that sort of track you as you move through the room, and they stare particularly hard at Galason.
Have you been in here before?
I was gonna say, have I been in this room before? Was I aware of any of this?
I mean, you knew that this room existed, and you might have been in here once or twice with supervision, but it was super, super forbidden for you to come up here. So if you have, you snuck in.
Okay. So like I'll definitely look around and just try to see like kind of weighing the kind of insight that I got about grandfather not doing well, I'm assuming, fiscally, versus the amount of stuff that's in this room. And it's like, how does that track? But also, seeing what here might be of interest or possibly explain, the shadowy influence of my powers.
He's certainly done a lot in those long centuries.
Unga will kind of be like a kid at an aquarium where you're like, where the sign says "Don't tap the glass." It's just like
He's got his wyvern claw.
So like as you're tapping things at one point, Elia reaches out and like sort of pushes your hand down. She's like, "You don't want to touch that one, dear."
Oh.
And it's a little treasure chest just sitting there on the shelf.
Yeah, I really want to touch that one.
No, you really don't. Your hand won't come off and then it'll come to life and try to eat you.
Oh, is that one of those mimic things I've heard about?
Indeed it is. We have named it Ferdinand.
Well,
Or I have named it Ferdinand. My father won't truck with such nonsense.
All due respect, ma'am, but that wouldn't be the first time his hands come off.
It's true. Hold up, though.
Don't you have the wyvern stinger as a hand now?
No, it says my pauldron.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's got a hook for the left.
Oh yeah.
I should say that should make you want to be more careful about keeping the other one.
That's a good point.
Curiosity and cats and all. Unga's is Unga.
Speaking of cats, that reminds me, and I look around the room because there's all this magical stuff to see, just on the off chance that the cat that ran off my fan is hiding in here somewhere.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, he is kind of lounging between objects on one of the shelves.
I see that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out my fan and just sort of like shake it towards him and be like,
And he stands up, stretches, and like his butt goes in the air, cat fashion wise, leaps down, winds between your legs, and then hops into the fan. And this time you actually like see him go in and become the illustration.
I breathe an audible sigh of relief. I've been missing him. He's been gone for a long time.
Just weird look.
That is quite fascinating. I'm going to have to ask you questions about that fan at some point.
I got it from my father's hoard.
Horde.
Let me take something, but yeah, from the plane of fire.
I
Argan
thought
here.
your father was, and she
Sur-
like points
Surrogate
to.
father was a dragon.
He raised me.
Oh, that's quite lovely.
I only met him about a year ago.
And she's just like giving Calden this sidelong look like she knows exactly how he is. And he is once again looking properly abashed and very suddenly interested in this row of books he's looking at.
So I'm just gonna point to Luval, Prudence, Unga, rinse, repeat. It's
Sheldon.
and well,
Oh yeah, Sheldon.
we it is dear Prince Vent here who has kind of noticed the family tattoo and pulled us all together and caused all of this to transpire.
Myth should
True.
be here in
What's
a few
destiny
days.
that led me to you guys and us all to here right now?
So
It is. Sorry?
what is this place?
Well, your grandfather doesn't want you to know about this because it is rather a point of besmirchment on our family name, as he puts it. But he adventured for a time in his youth.
Makes sense.
And these are mementos of that point in his life. Occasionally, an adventurer will come through here with the odd cursed item, and he will buy it from them and add it to the collection.
They're all cursed items?
All of them.
Oh.
Except for that one. That one's Ferdinand, and he's kind of a creature. I come in here and feed him meat now and then.
How did Ferdinand arrive? I've never fully understood mimics.
In a bigger box.
That also was a mimic.
Can I look and see what kind of books he has?
Yes.
Just like, I think Prudence would be immediately drawn to the books and just like looking through the titles and things, seeing if she recognizes anything interesting.
So you are standing next to Calden, looking at the spines of these books, and a lot of them are in really old languages that aren't like readily able to be understood. One of them, one with a black spine, has a title that would particularly catch your interest and be almost impossible for you not to go and touch. What is the title of the book?
Stealing and Eating Dreams. A discourse on sucking the soul out.
All right, and do you give in and try to touch the book?
I think she would. I think she would at least like, just kind of like be drawn to at least see what it feels like.
Oh, it is all supple leather and it feels luxurious, like the best car interior you have ever touched, except like insert medieval equivalent here. There's a cloth bookmark that runs all the way through and it's got nice rough cut pages and it smells like the best Velicor.
Ooh, I love the book smell. Book smell is best smell. So Prudence is probably going to just kind of be casually thumbing through it, seeing if she recognizes any of like magics that are older, like what her mother would have used.
So when you open the book, I want you to give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh boy, my rolls have been really not great so far. That is a 13 base plus 6, so 19.
So you immediately know that the enchantment on this book makes it say what you want it to say the most, and that you will never be able to find the same page in it twice.
Oh, that's sinister. And also kind of brilliant. And Prudence will just gently put the book back, a little bit disappointed, but also extremely intrigued.
So does there happen to be any, mirror that stands out in the room?
No, but there is a standing mirror shape that is covered by a tarp. It's not small though. It's a floor mirror.
I've got the mirror that I want, so
Ted, you have muted yourself.
sorry, it was an obnoxious dryer noise going off behind me.
Oh, okay. Understandable.
So I'm not concerned with trying to find the mirror that Cheyenne wants, but the scenario of just, seeing if it's there, just to be, aware one way or another.
I will remind you that Lurza told you that they already gave the mirror to the Sphinx and what the Sphinx used it for. That's how you know the Sphinx is doing magic.
Okay. I thought they said that they were looking for a mirror and that the mirror they had might not have been it. So.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fair. That is absolutely fair. That is a fair takeaway.
Why does Xian want cursed magic items?
It's a good question, Unga.
Who's Shan? Elia asks, kind of turning
she's
her
an
head.
evil sphinx.
Huh.
She's holding my mother prisoner. I'm gonna cut
Oh.
off her head.
That's absolutely terrible and cannot be allowed to stand. So the Sphinx wants magic items as a ransom in return?
Not exactly. The Sphinx froze the orc village and freed the children and set them loose on your father.
The information we've gathered so far is that the Sphinx is absorbing the magic out of items and then using that magic to do other things.
I see.
So basically a de-enchantment.
Did your father run afoul of any sphinxes in those adventuring days?
Not that I know of, but he doesn't talk about it. He likes to pretend like it never happened at all.
Well, maybe we can loosen his tongue at this dinner tonight. Just don't look him in the eyes, everyone. I look at all my siblings.
I'll look at my mother and just smile as he said.
And she's just like looking at you like she expects an answer as to why.
I look at him like,
No.
My brother believes that if an elf looks you directly in the eyes, it's going to read your mind.
And she
I've seen it.
immediately makes eye contact.
Is she an elf?
Yes.
Oh, I thought she was. Oh, yeah.
That's my mother.
I will tackle Vent to save his mind.
Oh God. Okay. Let me make a happenstance roll.
Oh no.
You are lucky and do not blunder into any of these very cursed shelves.
That was close, Unga.
I will tell you what. Stay the night here tonight, and in the morning I will have something for one of you. What weapons do you tend to favor?
Why? Well, oh yeah, I suppose we're not carrying them around with us.
I absolutely believe Unga would be carrying his axe around unless someone told him not to.
I probably left. I would have left mine by the door. I have like an axe or a weapon, like an umbrella holder, but for weapons.
I love the concept of that.
Well, does Vint or Unga have a magic weapon?
I
No.
don't think so.
I just named mine Tail, but there's nothing special about it.
Okay.
Unga uses an axe, and Vint uses a sword.
Oh, that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Let me get back with you, Prince Vent, and she will nod.
It's actually a
Kira,
maul.
Mhm.
I mean, look at him. This guy hasn't held a sword in his whole life. He
Oh, a
wouldn't
maul.
sword from a hammer.
I can make that work.
Wow, thank you.
And she'll motion you guys back out of the room. I should show you to the guest room so that you can get cleaned up before dinner.
The jar of eyes that was looking at me. Is there anything, any more detail on that, or is it literally like a variety of different types of eyes, all the same kind of eyes?
It is a variety of different types of eyes and all different colors.
Oh, there's probably elf eyes in there. I didn't even think of that.
Before Unga exits the room, he's gonna reach into a pouch and pull out an iron ration, like dried beef or something, dried meat, and toss it at the chest.
And it opens, and this tongue shoots out, grabs the meat, and just pulls it back in.
And Unga just has a look of delight on his face. Did you see that, Sheldon? Did you see that?
I'll let everybody else go through, and I'll see if I can hold Mother back, and I'll ask about the jar of eyes, see if he knows anything about it.
Oh, no, I'm actually not sure where he got that one. When I was younger, I used to think that it was tracking my movements and reporting to him, but I don't think it does that, or he'd know a lot more than he does about what I've been up to in here.
Okay, I was just curious. I've never mind, and I'll.
Shut up, Steven.
What has she
Give
been
her
up
a
to
nod.
in there?
What do you think? Come on.
Okay, moving right along. All right, you guys are shown to individual rooms, and each of you merit your own guest room. Like, they're very nice. There's canopy beds. Everybody has their own bathroom. You've got like time to clean up and get changed.
Do I have a guest room, or do I actually have my room?
Oh, you have your room. It has not been touched. It is exactly how you left it.
So I'll kind of like just walk around the room and reminisce before I, take care of cleaning up and what have. Try to be as presentable as possible.
Okay. Does anybody have any details for like what their cleanup entails?
Oh yes. Prudence is going to wear the dress that Sin's mom gave her. And she is going to also like pull out her little makeup kit and do her eyeliner, her lips, the whole 9 yards. It's very like goth chic mingled with like high upper crust society. So you get that like really interesting formal vibe that's almost like formal punk. And she's got like these little gold tips that she puts on the spikes on her wings. So that just like ornamentation, nothing really special about them, but just, extra little bits here and there. So yeah.
Yeah, Elia will be very happy to see you in that dress, and she'll like coo over you, and you reach the dining room for a little bit. But
then actually, which I forgot, I was looking at inventory. I do have like actual formal clothes that he travels with too. That you guys probably haven't seen because we haven't seen each other in a year, and then we went right to here, which is actually just like all these silk brocade things with like a headpiece, and he's also wearing that dragon claw prism orb pendant thing that we never gave back to the map emporium as collateral. Around his neck, and a lot of like these glass rings and things like that, but in the colors of luster. That's just like that's like that's what he has to wear to like state dinners and things like that.
I love brocade.
I have
very sumptuous.
I have fine clothes as well. I mean, my background was hey, I pretended to be a noble, which is how I got into so much trouble.
Wait, what is Gallison? Was he a charlatan? Is that his
Yep.
background?
Yeah, I feel like Unga's gonna show up the way you arrived.
I wouldn't.
You look
Imagine
very
any other
out
way.
of place. But also, and of course you've got Louvel in like the dress armor with the cloak, also in the colors of luster, and Calden in Bard's finery. But there is someone unexpected at the dinner table as well. Another high elf, this one with very red hair,
Oh, boy.
and he's got it pulled back in a low ponytail, and he's got like just like a little bit of a soul patch kind of thing going on there. It's as much facial hair as you have ever seen a pure-blooded elf have, right?
I'm gonna be sitting like this a lot.
And he is sitting at the right hand of Grandpa Trisrell. They seem to be in conversation as you enter, but when Vent enters, they both stand. So he's at least been informed as to who you are.
Oh. I'll bow to them, and then I'll take off like the little mantle type cape he has and hand that to Louvel.
Louvel, who takes it and then proceeds to hang it on whatever thing there is to hang it on in here.
We've been to a bunch of these things together.
So in the hallway, I would prestidigitate Sheldon to kind of make him sparkle.
Oh.
Put some shine on that shell.
There is not a chair for Sheldon.
Sorry, he'll just hang out by me, and I'll just keep pushing things off the table.
So, Grandpa Triswell, he stands with his hands folded behind him as per usual. He's like, of course, the seat of honor for Prince Vent.
Oh, wow.
And if I might introduce you to my other dinner guest, this is Valiador.
I'll bow, averting my eyes to him as well.
He is, of course, here in the interest of courting Eliandrella.
Oh,
She does not look happy about that.
well, you've got quite a lot to live up to. This is a fair lass.
Yeah.
Is Calden
Calden.
here too?
Yeah, he is. He sits
Oh, okay.
right next to the guy.
Oh,
I will lean into Calden, and probably he thinks he's whispering, but probably not. Dad, do you want me to behead him?
Not yet.
Okay. And also, how does this work with all these different moms?
What do you mean?
I mean, we've all got different moms and one dad. It's a little confusing.
We can go over it after dinner. Now is not the time. And he'll pat your arm.
All right.
Can Prudence, when she enters and goes to meet the dude that's there, because she's a lady, right? So of course they should, take her hand and all that like they would do. And she is a feral tiefling, so she has retractable claws. And I would like for her to be able to try to subtly cut the guy's belt, make it look like an accident, so his pants fall off.
I mean, absolutely, yes. Go ahead.
Okay.
Is sleight of hand still a thing?
Yes.
Okay, then yes, do that.
That's how you know you played a lot of D&D.
Base +2, dirty 20.
Okay, they don't fall off immediately. He does sit back down, but remind me when he goes to stand up later.
Okay.
It worked.
So I'm gonna try to use some of the dinner to figure out, like, whatever intel I can get on this guy. Is he wearing like multitude of rings on his fingers? Does he seem well-to-do? Any of that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, no, he is definitely rich, and that is exactly why your father invited him here. It's not hard to figure that out. He's not exactly attractive in the face, I mean, he's of course got an elven build because elves, but like This
Soul
guy,
patch though, man.
So
his breath is terrible. He talks about your mother like she's a piece of property. Like he just makes an absolute ass of himself
Oh, he's a
throughout the
jerk.
entire dinner. Like, yeah,
So-
he's a huge jerk. And now we don't have to get like granular about the whole dinner. Just know that like it's various dishes and it's like, you know, pass around the table style, like serve yourself from what's on the table. And it's all good stuff. There are 3 courses because like what else are you going to do at a fancy dinner like this? The dinner conversations tend to try to steer clear of tricky topics, but I imagine with everybody who is here that is sitting at the table, occasionally things get brought up that probably shouldn't have been. The entire time, Calden keeps on like poking at this guy just to see if he can get him to like mess up, and Valiador is just like sitting there with this more and more pinched expression, and you can kind of see why he gets along with your grandfather. Does anybody else have anything to add to like things that happened during dinner?
yeah, so at one point in time, I want to like, you know, have a reason to shake his hand and, you know, look for, you know, some kind of distraction, and I want to slip one of the rings off.
Okay, sleight of hand.
Of course.
And if anybody would like to use the help action to give him that distraction, you can have advantage.
I don't really need it. That's a 19 on the die plus.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, you absolutely got one of his rings.
Wow.
I think Prudence would like to make a point of while Jerk Muffin is taking a sip of soup or some other sort of thing to bring up a really gross fact about an ingredient that she's noticed in the food. Just like, you know, something about the way that an animal is prepared, or maybe something about, you know, a
The way
particular
mushrooms
plant
decay?
and how it reproduces in this really nasty way or something like that.
Like
He
Kopi Luwak
manages
coffee.
not to puke at the table, but he does at that point get up to excuse himself to the washroom, and that is when his pants fall down.
Oh, jeez.
At which point he just kind of pulls them back up, leaves, and does not come back.
Oh, how undignified for a nobleman.
Uh,
I know Mage Hand doesn't have you know, any strength to it. But if I could just, you know, cause it to pull ever so slightly on the pants, so he has to like fight a little bit harder to get it to pull his pants back up.
Jeez.
It's kind of like
Humiliating.
underneath the table.
yes, Greg Vasquez, there are beans at this dinner. God damn it. Okay.
Wait for you to see it.
All right. So I'm sorry, Ted. What did you just say? I got distracted.
Sure. So for like kind of from underneath the table, I want to like subtly cast a Mage Hand. I know Mage Hand doesn't have like a strength score, but even if it's just like a minor irritation that he has to fight against the hand to pull his pants back up before he leaves.
Oh, yes. Okay, I will absolutely allow this just because it's very funny. As a matter of fact, you may take a point of inspiration.
Woohoo!
So yes, he does like trip a little bit then on his way out. And no, he does not come back. It's unclear as to if he's going to come back ever. And your grandfather like just puts his hands on the table and stares across the table at you like he has done so many times in your youth.
Well, he was a rather crass guest for especially for a noble.
Hey, Grandpa, have you ever fought a sphinx?
No, that would be entirely unseemly.
Oh. What would you do if you had to fight a sphinx?
I would likely do everything I could to prepare myself against magical effects. What kind of a sphinx are we talking about?
A mean one.
A mean one.
It's mean enough to want that mirror you've got in your tower of mementos.
Pardon me.
That's what those orc children were after. I think they may have gotten it. Wait, just to clarify, like, Lacey, did you point that out to us when we were up there? Like,
I didn't point out that there was a mirror in there. I just kind of like was looking around. Like the idea I had was like they were looking for a mirror. They may or may not have gotten the right one.
Well, either way, we'll flesh them out.
I'm curious. Have you ever experienced life on the road, or perhaps encountered some sort of danger that you had to overcome?
Prudence, we already know he did. He was an adventurer.
And he slaps the table again, and he's like, "This dinner is over."
But we didn't have dessert yet.
Yeah, what's the problem? We're all family here, sort of. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Your son here is an adventurer, and yet he's defeated demon lords and put the stars back in the sky.
His eyes drift to the side, and then his head moves after, and he just fixes Elia with this stare that reminds you of a Gorgon. And he's like, "Fine, dinner is over for you. Go to your room." And she's just like, "I'm sorry. How old do you think I am?" He's like, "Go to your room."
If she gets up from the table, I will block her path.
Okay, so you do that, and she kind of hesitates.
Grandfather, this might be your estate, but I think it is far time that you learn that she is a woman. She is a person, not property, like that pesky noble was trying to treat her. You do not command her to go to her room. Mother, please sit down. You have lost your patience at this table far too many times. You sit down. You listen. We are trying to solve problems here, and you can deny all you want. But your own daughter has revealed that you used to be an adventurer. There is a Sphinx, several days boat travel from here, that is seeking magic items that they might be drained and the magic might be used to do other things. We don't have any more specifics than that because it's coming from children who don't know any better. You can squawk all you want and command all you want, but it's not going to solve anything. If you have information that might be useful, might be helpful, fine, please tell it. If you don't, be open and honest for once and say that you don't have any information to be helpful.
I know a thing or two about sphinxes in theory, but I have never faced one. And Elia, she's going to like hug you very tightly for a moment and then hold you at arm's length, and she's going to say, "I am leaving this table. I'm not going to my room. I'm going to walk in the garden. You have a lovely dinner."
I will
She
bow
block her
respectfully
way
to her.
and not so subtly slip her a hunk of meat for Fernando.
and she laughs, and when she leaves, you see her go that way first.
And I'm like, "This is for you know who." And then I wink, like very obviously.
And she winks very obviously back. She is delighted by you, Unga.
Yes, intelligence isn't my only dump stat.
Wait, he's like a monster expert, right? He just loves creatures, is that I took it?
Yeah.
He's that too, but he's also has his dump stat and wisdom and or intelligence and charisma.
So, Grandpa Trisrell sits back down, and he's just stewing in it for a second. He's like, "Okay, here is what I know. I know that typically the male sphinx is supposed to be more powerful than the female. That is what the books say. I know that the sphinx's roar can cause any number of terrible ailments to befall you should you have the misfortune of hearing it. I know that you will need to be wise and you will need to be hardy before you go and face one. And I know that it has the ability to manipulate time as if it were a matter and not whatever it is that time is."
Perhaps that is what they have done to the orc tribe nearby.
Do you have beeswax?
What?
Beeswax. You said their roars powerful and magical. If we stuff our ears with beeswax, we won't hear it.
That is actually very clever. And he seems shocked, absolutely shocked that this came out of your mouth of all people.
Oh, this guy knows everything there is to know about monsters and critters.
I can get you beeswax before you go.
Thanks. And I'll sit down and look very proud of himself.
It seems like you're kind of falling on hard times, but you're being a little stubborn about it. Why try to sell off your daughter instead of selling off some of those baubles you keep for nostalgia's sake?
I do not keep this for nostalgia's sake. They are sequestered for everyone else's good. If I were to sell one of those items, then it would be loose in the world again, and we cannot have that.
Well, we have a very popular museum in Leicester that may be able to house those things for you.
Do you have any idea how dangerous some of those items are?
Not particularly.
And he shifts his gaze to Prudence and kind of steeples his fingers, and he says, "But you do."
I know that there is magic that is accessible and available and legal for mortals. And I know there is other magic. And I'm curious how someone who knows such a great deal about it and who has a sense of morality regarding it would become a bitter and miserly person like you.
Need I remind you, you are sitting at my table. Have a care.
I am having a care by asking this of you. Because frankly speaking, unlike Vent, unlike my dear brother Galason, whom you cast aside as a piece of rubbish, I have no qualm about breaking decorum for petty rules and petty manners that mean nothing in the realms of magic and reality. So answer me directly or do not. It does not have consequence for me, and I am always comfortable sleeping among the stars. Do you need help? Is there something that can be done to help that person who has a sense of dignity and ethics regarding magic to come back?
Help get that big stick out of your butt, I think is what Prudence is trying to say, right?
He was about to answer you, and it looked like you were going to get the answer you wanted, and then Vince said that he stands up and just
Well,
leaves the
wisdom's my
room.
dump stat.
But he didn't say anything mean in response, so you might be getting somewhere. Just not tonight. Tonight is not that night. And so you are left alone with just your own party at the dinner table. And Calden's just sitting there slurping his soup like that was the most delightful thing he's ever seen.
I think that went really great, you guys.
So in typical time, as he's leaving the room, I will hold up my glass to Prudence, and I will say, as I've done before, to those bastards.
I'll get to that.
Yeah, move out.
Not a very pleasant guy.
Well, if you thought that any of my stories were exaggerations, you've had this meal as concrete proof.
But why, though? I think I see what you're saying, Prudence. I mean, the responsibility of guarding all those terrible magic items. You think that an offer to ease the burden would be welcome?
You would think. And she looks at their father, can wipe that smirk off of your face. Because this is something I've wanted to say to you for a great long time, and I think this is a perfect moment. You and he are one and the same, two peas in a pod, as it were. Both of you viewing people as items, using people for your ends, using your children for your ends, and leaving us for what?
You have to come with me.
I think that you owe not so much me, because I had a fine childhood. I was raised by a mother that, though evil, genuinely seemed to love me. But the rest of them, you left them. And you didn't know what would happen. And frankly speaking, I think that you need to sit on the fact that you and your father-in-law at one time are one in the same. And she's going to stand up and go into the garden for a walk.
Was that to me or was that to
It
Col-
was to
Call-
Calden.
Yeah, to Calden.
Okay. All right. I'm just like,
You're like,
wait a
No,
second.
not Galatian.
excuse
No,
me?
pointed to Galatian.
Family fight.
No, she just like called dear old dad out and then
Yeah.
walked out in the same sort of fashion as Galatian's mom. And she may or may not run into her in the garden. I don't know, but she's just going to go for a walk in the garden.
Like
It's a
we
nice-
all, every last one of us, are airing our dirty laundry tonight, aren't we? I need more wine.
I'm fine.
He just walks over to like where the wine is and pulls out a bottle and does not bother grabbing a cup for it. He
Yeah,
also
grab me a
leaves.
bottle too. I'll
Oh,
hang
Vince,
out
Slides
with
it to
Dad.
ya.
Yeah.
Vint, I think you had a spectacular childhood. I mean, how many get to be, have a dragon as a caretaker?
Yeah, I mean, I did kind of wonder why my parents didn't want me and left me in a plane of fire with a dragon, but he was a good guardian. I learned a lot from Argenvar.
And
Can't say I regret it too much.
my mother did care for me, but it was not all ease because she was getting it from both sides, dealing with me as a single mother and grandfather having all of his standard issues. So I don't know.
What about you, Louvel? What were you like as a kid?
Generally all right. I mean, both of my parents were adopted. My biological mother died giving birth to me. I was taken in by a pair of nobles that couldn't have their own children, and I had no siblings there. It's really nothing too interesting.
And Sheldon had Unga to care for him.
No, Sheldon grew up under the sea with his crab colony. Well, then he got really big and he ate them. Then then we met, but that's a whole crab thing.
Oh, I thought you raised him as a little crab.
He was, but he was still bigger than the other crabs.
Ah, I see. And I don't know anything about myth, except I guess she's a pirate now.
Well, she used to be an artist. I mean, I guess she's
Yeah,
still an
sculptor.
artist.
Yeah, did you ever think about us all those years, Dad?
All the time.
Why didn't you ever come looking for us?
Well, for one thing, at a certain point, I had been taken captive by a demon,
Fair enough.
which accounts for several of those years. And then before that, I was setting up my dominoes for, well,
Did
you were
you
there.
Did you get captured by a demon on purpose to shirk your responsibility as a parent?
Why would I want to be captured by a demon?
I don't know. It seems like it's pretty complicated being part of a family.
Some people
I'm
just don't
not
like
going
kids.
to pretend like that. Sorry?
Some people just don't like kids.
No, I like kids. I just,
Well, we know you like making kids.
I was a really adorable kid. You would have loved me.
he's just like drinking straight from the bottle now.
Same.
Listen, I'm not going to pretend like that was the first time that demoness had me chained to the wall, but I digress. That isn't the point.
So where's our path of destiny lay now? We gotta.
Oh, maybe
The
the demoness
Sphinx.
was the smart one. because she knew to chain him to the wall before he could run.
Do you have any half demon kids out there?
I look at
He
Prudence.
just kind of looks at Prudence and then looks at you like,
And I haven't drank in a while. I figure this is well into the night.
yeah. All right. Prudence, you do indeed find Elia in the garden. And she
Okay.
is watering some flowers that weren't there when you walked through it the first time to get into the house.
What kind of flowers?
Moon lilies.
Okay. So she'll just kind of walk up and very like quietly say, thank you for the dress. It's lovely.
It looks wonderful on you, and I was very much hoping that it would.
I do really love this dress. It is the first gift anyone outside of my lovers has ever given me that was not for a purpose, especially a magical one.
And she smiles and she's like, I know that you all have your own mothers and people to go back to, but I was delighted to see you all coming down the drive, the path leading up to the front doors. And you are welcome here anytime, by me, if not by Theodonis.
Well, thank you. And you know, you are a noble lady, and you are a person, and even your father has no right to treat you like an asset.
I'm going to be polite, and I'm not going to talk about him being an asset. No, I was actually thinking I might take off on an adventure of my own at some point.
You know, speaking from experience, having a party is much better than going at it alone.
But you seem to have your hands full of something quite difficult right now, and I suspect I should be trying something a little bit more my speed at first.
That's fair. But you know, there are a great many adventurers, different places. If you go to the Babylon Candle in Luster, you may find some people that would be open to helping you. Some of them might seem a bit scary, but I think that when you can see past initial appearances and perhaps first impressions and allow someone to actually get to know you and you know them in turn, you may find someone you'd be willing to risk your life for, or better yet, someone you'd be willing to spend your life with.
I see. I will definitely take that under advisement. Thank you, Prudence. But I do know that for sure I will still be here as long as you guys are in the area. I have a feeling as though you're going to need allies.
At this point, I'm not certain that we're very good at making those ourselves, so it's much appreciated.
I quite like the spirit of all of you.
Thank you. I did tell him off. Both of them, actually.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And hopefully the other doesn't, at least he has the good sense not to stay around. But you know, Galason, for all of his many similarities to our father that I will not get into right now, he has your kindness.
I can tell.
And I think that that is what has saved him from becoming a carbon copy of the bastard, who I don't frankly know if he is a bastard in there.
He has his good points. He's just not exactly responsible. And I think all of us knew that getting into this. I know I certainly did.
Well, informed consent is important.
The night is growing late. I
It is.
should be heading in.
You have lovely flowers, by the way,
Oh, thank you. They only bloom in the moonlight.
and I'm sure they will only bloom for those that take good care of them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And she bows and sets her watering can down before heading into the house.
And-
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say Prudence will like kind of meander the garden to get a good feel for it and then fly back and kind of go to her room if there's a balcony. Otherwise, she'll kind of go to her room in a like solitary manner so as not to disturb everyone.
There is indeed a balcony. As a matter of fact, all of you have one. Like including you, Galason, your childhood bedroom has a balcony attached. So does anybody have anything else that they would like to do before bedtime?
Real quick,
Mhm.
Sin is just going to kind of slip out, whether he goes down the balcony that he's done numerous times before, or through the house, doesn't really matter much. But he's practiced at moving quietly, specifically in this house, and he's just gonna walk in the darkness and again spend a few minutes calling forth the hound and giving it attention, and letting it run free, or letting him run free, and enjoy the process before it vanishes into the shadows itself and he sneaks back into the house.
So before that happens, before you dismiss your hound, it starts barking at something in the sky. And you think that it might be a bat at first until it starts getting closer and you realize it's much larger than a bat and has feathers. And then it starts to crash and falls into the garden.
I'll head over to it.
It's Talus.
Chalice the chalice.
Is that the bird messenger?
No, Talus is the silver-haired woman that you guys met in the first session.
Oh, jeez.
She is bleeding all over the place. Like she's got a big chunk taken out of her arm.
Well, haven't done a long rest yet, so I'll use my light to heal her for 1 point of damage.
I totally forgot.
I mean,
1
it's
point of
enough
healing.
to stanch the bleeding at least.
Oh.
She kind of like grabs a hold of your shoulder and kind of steadies herself, and she's like, you need to get your siblings and warn them. It has your scent.
So I will literally look to the house, and whichever balcony would be Prudence's room, I will just send a flurry of bats from the wand, just like held at the door.
Right, Prudence, there are now bats pinging at your window.
She is definitely intrigued and will open the windows full stop to let the bats fly in. And I presume she sees whatever outside the balcony.
Yeah, you see Galason and that woman from before in the garden, and she wears mostly white and gray, so you can totally see like the big stain of red seeping down her sleeve.
Oh, yeah. Prudence is flying over, and she is going to, as she's flying over, you see her form sort of like takes on this starry, translucent sheen. And it looks like her different limbs are connected by star points. And so that she's almost like a made of a constellation herself. And she takes this stance in the air, and you kind of hear zoom. And she takes the chalice, the chalice stance. I don't know what you would call it. Form of the chalice. I'm not sure.
Yeah, what is that called? Yeah.
Starry form chalice. So yeah, she is going to cast Cure Wounds. So it will do 2d8 plus 6. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, so that's 8 plus 6, so 14.
Okay. That wound seems to have closed. She still looks a bit pale, but and she's explaining as you're doing this. Like, it's called an astrophage. It attacked me in the tower, and then there was something that Lubell had left there. I think it was a cloak, but it went straight for it. All I'm saying is it's got your scent, and I know you happen to have stars yourselves. It's going to be here. And at that moment, the ground shakes a little bit.
So while she's being healed, I'm having the bats move on to the next room, trying to get the other group down here.
Okay, so you guys are awakened by bats at your windows.
Do we know that that's like Gallison's thing?
Oh yeah, he's shown it to you before.
Yeah, how far down is it from the window?
I was totally gonna ask. You know what?
You're
I'm
on the
not even gonna
second
ask.
story.
I'm just jumping off the bed, just grab my mom and leap off the balcony.
All right. It's not quite far enough down for you to take damage from doing that. You can just tuck and roll with it.
That's what I do.
I will, order Sheldon to go head for the courtyard, and I will.
You're not gonna do backpack mode?
I could do backpack mode.
Do we just answer our own bat signal?
Is there like vines and stuff?
Yes.
Well, then I'm going to swing out on one of the vines with my hook and just kind of rappel down the side.
That is very cool. Take a point of inspiration. All right, so you guys assemble in the courtyard. And Talus is just like, no, you're not supposed to come here. You're supposed to be going.
Weren't you trying to hunt us down yourself?
No. What? I mean, technically I should be, but I'm not.
Well, we appreciate the warning. We'll take it from here. Now look around for this astrophage.
So after a minute, and you don't so much see it as you see the darkness where it should be. It's just a mass of black, like a black hole, like a singularity in the shape of a beast. And the paw comes down on top of one of the tall hedges and just pushes it down, leaving a hole in the garden topiary.
So as I see all of this happening, I've kind of like stepped off to the side, and where there's already shadow, I'm just gonna call it around me and blanket myself in more darkness.
And I'll say to this, I'll point my maul at this thing and say, I think you've got one of our cloaks.
And then I'm gonna need initiative.
Okay.
Oh, I actually have advantage on initiative. So let's see. 16 for Vent.
I got 21.
Okay. Sin? I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
15.
15. And Unga. Unga.
I am muted. I'm sorry. 19.
15 is the low for our party. Wow.
Okay. Prudence, you're up first.
Okay. I would like to cast Guiding Bolt if I can. So let's see. That is a 19 plus a bunch, plus 6. So 25 to hit.
That hits.
Okay. So I am going to deal, how many does it do? I need to look on D&D Beyond. 46, not 46, 46. That occurred to me that probably sounded weird. I'm going to roll my special Nerdarchy dice that I like so well. They are the aircraft grade metal. Do right by me. 6, 5, 3, 1. Okay, that 7 plus 8 is 15 radiant damage, and
Okay.
the creature is glowing, so advantage on the next thing.
No, the creature is not glowing, and as a matter of fact, when you hit it with that some of the cracks that had been forming from the fighting that it was doing before start closing up.
Oh,
So for
shoot.
this fight, Radiant heals it.
It just sucks up the light.
Oh.
Anything else?
So Prudence is going to shout, Radiant heals it, shit, shit, shit. And she is going to that is all I can do, I think. So yeah, I'm good.
All right. Louvel is going to head back into the house to warn everyone else about what's going on and make sure that they don't get hurt. And then
Alright.
Unga's up.
All right, I will bonus action Hunter's Mark. And I will charge.
Okay,
And that's a dirty 20.
that hits.
All right, that is 16 damage before Hunter's Mark. And make it a 17.
Okay.
And I'll do that again. Does an 11 hit?
No.
All right.
Vent.
I will start bounding towards the thing and look to Prudence and say, well, let's see how it does with fire. And I'll leap into the air with my maul. As I'm in the air, I will rage, which creates an aura of fire around me. So all other creatures in the aura take 3 points of fire damage just when it's activated. So I'm kind of like, I'm imagining I'm like leaping at it when he's about to hit it, just like, rah! And then I'll actually swing tail at it. And then, oh man, it was like on the 20 and then it fell. So that was an 8. And then my second attack.
Does the fire seem to hurt it?
Yes,
My second attack is a 25.
that hits.
And that will do. Oh my god, double ones plus 7.
Okay.
Ugh, double ones on the damage. How lame is that?
Box.
So
wow.
at that point, it takes another big step forward. Its claws like ripping furrows into the carefully tended and manicured garden lawn. And it throws its head back, or at least you think it's throwing its head back. It's hard to tell because it's very hard to see. There's nothing to see. It's just emptiness where it's blocking the light and drinking it in. And it shrieks. And when it shrieks, all of the colors invert for a second, and everybody has to make a wisdom saving throw.
All right.
19.
Oh, yes. Also a 19. It was on 5 and then it fell over to the 8.
Oh, nice. I got a 16.
Okay.
18 for Sin.
What is it?
18 for me.
Okay, you all pass. So nobody takes damage from this, but you can feel it like trying to fray at your mind. And then
Yeah, that
Galayson's
sounded
up.
scary.
All right. So does it have the ability to see me within magical darkness?
You can't tell.
Well, I'm casting, fire at it. Do I have advantage on the attack?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So first attack. Well, that's a 23,
That hits.
25,
That hits.
and third attack 19.
Also hits.
Whew.
So 21 points of fire as the black flames just kind of like lance out from the patch of darkness that I'm in and just kind of like shriek and fly around my companions, highlighting the darkness that's there.
Okay. And so yeah, you guys do have a bit of a better idea where it is after that, because the flames between Vent and Galayson are sort of lingering. Talus raises a hand, whispers an arcane syllable, and Unga Prudence and Galason all get 10 temporary hit points.
Oh,
and
wow.
is up.
I will take that.
Mm-hmm. Chalice the chalice. Who did you say was up? I'm sorry, it wasn't me, was it?
Prudence.
No.
Oh, me. Okay. Prudence is going to realizing that Radiant is not good, is not going to cast that Radiant spell again. I'm really glad I didn't do that at an extra level. I'm going to bonus action hex it. So you hear these like eldritch whispers kind of like just coming almost in reverse reverb from her as you see this sigil appear on Prudence's hand, like a palm, and the same sigil appears like where the thing's head would be. And then she is going to cast, oh gosh, I didn't have many damaging spells prepared. She's just gonna go at it with primal savagery. Her claws extend, and you see that this black ichor sort of drips from them just a little bit as she slashes. It almost looks like ink following her claws as she slashes twice. So
Take a point of inspiration. That was really cool.
Cool, thanks. That I'm gonna use that inspiration immediately because I rolled a 3. That is an 11 base plus 6, 17.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay, cool. We're in business. I'm gonna roll 2d10s here. My good Nerdarchy dice. These red dice are so pretty. That is a 2 and a 4 for 6 acid damage.
Okay.
And oh, I forgot to roll my hex damage. That's important because I hexed it. So that's another 4 damage.
What kind?
Necrotic, I think.
Okay.
Hex it.
So you will also notice that necrotic does absolutely nothing to it.
Great, cool. My hex is not super useful. I'm
So
glad I
sorry.
learned this.
I didn't realize that you were going to be doing necrotic damage when I wrote the stat block. I'll take
That's
it
all right.
into
That's
account.
okay. It was free for me because I can cast it once per day for free because it's
Oh,
from
that's good.
Yes.
Unga, what are you doing?
Unga's going to do Unga things, which usually means using his
Good.
axe.
Good,
As
good.
Sheldon arrived on the scene.
Oh, yes.
All right, bonus action, help.
Gonna get his shell down.
So it is a 13 or a 23, so we'll go with the 23. For 13 damage plus 17 damage total. And we will swing again. And 19 on the die, so 26 to hit.
That hits.
And nice. That's 16 plus. Max. So 22 total with that one.
Okay. You can see little fissures of light running through this creature now, so it is very clear where it's standing at the moment. And it seems to be in pain. Vent.
All right, let's see. At the start of my turn as a bonus action, I will try to burn it with my storm aura that just does 3 fire damage to it, as long as it's within 5 feet of me. And then I'm gonna recklessly attack, because I forgot about I hit that with Maul. So let's see. I'm gonna guess 24 hits and 25. So okay. So let's see. We've got 16 on the first hit. And does an 18 hit it?
Yes.
And another 13. So was that 29 altogether in 2 big swings? Just
Okay. Vent, you got this. You bring your maul down and it cracks into this thing, and it's almost like you've broken a china cup, the way those fissures of light just grow brighter for a moment before it falls to pieces in front of you.
Yeah, and then the light of his storm or the fire just sort of like flares up and makes this like shadow kind of dissipate. The
And
little
light
bits of darkness.
hatches out of this thing like an egg and seems to like dissipate into the air around you. Some of it goes back into Talus, and her wings sort of shudder and then like vanish in a flurry of feathers, and she just kind of takes a minute to drop to a knee and catch her breath, and everything is silent.
Did that just go back into you? Anybody else think that looked like a sphinx? Did it look sphinxy, like shape-wise, or was it just like an amorphous blob?
I mean, it probably could have been,
It
but it's hard
roared.
to say.
I'll walk over and smack her on her back hard. Good job, you led it right to us.
I was trying to warn you and not get eaten.
You did both of those things. Excellent.
Are you being sarcastic?
What?
What?
No, it was good. You brought it here and we killed it. That's what we do.
She
We
looks
kill
to Sin.
monsters.
So I wait a moment, listening to all of this, kind of laughing, and then once it's clear that there are no more monsters, and that one is not going to get back up, I kind of step out of the darkness. And while it's night out and there's moonlight and this and that, the darkness that I conjure, rather than just completely vanishing, just kind of like sucks back into the wand before I put it away.
Okay, then she looks to Sin because she couldn't see you before.
So were you not thinking we were supposed to defeat it? We were supposed to flee?
Well, yes.
Oh.
And these poor people would have been in danger from this creature.
I guess I just kind of assumed you would be as unarmed as I was, given your star bearers. These things eat starlight. And everything that I can do would have been like feeding it more starlight.
Well, thankfully we have some other options.
Should get an axe.
I will take that under advisement.
About fire.
We're gonna need something to protect us when Theodonis sees what that thing did to his garden. I sort of like survey the damage.
And who is Theodonis?
He's the lord of this manor.
Oh.
Some dick.
Oh, don't worry about some Ponzi noble. I'm sure he'll blame it on wolves or something.
What was his dad? Or grandpa?
Grandfather.
Oh, this is your home.
This is where I indeed grew up.
I see. I should, and she's gonna start walking away.
How did you find us? Oh, you were tracking us. That's right, because you went to hunt us down eventually too, right?
Who told you that?
She did. Didn't she?
Louvel did.
Oh, I thought she did. I misunderstood that.
Listen, I'm supposed to track down wayward stars, but honestly, most of you are not of species that are so long-lived that they'll go for that long. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that you might be able to slip under the radar, and if nobody directly tells me to do it, I don't particularly have to, so.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, then let's hope that you don't use this against us. And she will take her hand, Prudence will, and she will put this wicked-looking, serrated, curvy dagger in her hand. This is for you to protect yourself with. It is not magic, but it looks very cool.
And she's just like looking at this knife that you just handed her. Like, do you just go around handing blades to people?
Sometimes we hand out bows with arrows.
It's true. But right now, you need this more than I do.
Like, slip it into her belt. She's like, look.
I mean, if you don't want one that's quite so curvy, extra pointy, I do have, like I'll pull two like slim daggers, one from, either boot. Got this.
And she will offer the curvy dagger back to Prudence and be like, that is honestly more my speed.
Oh, dang, I definitely just deleted it off my character sheet.
You're a
Well, you can
crafty
add
guy,
dagger back.
Gleason. I didn't know you carried those in.
Well, I mean, you never know if you're going to have to cut bonds or purses or anything.
Yeah, I respect it.
Well, if it makes you all feel any better, there shouldn't be another astrophage. There wasn't one due to be on this plane in at least a dozen more years. Something very strange is going on.
Yeah, any luck with tracking down your star shards?
Oh, that thing absolutely ate the tiefling that I had in bondage, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on with the other two.
Oh, that's that's why that light went into you when it shattered.
Oh no, that's the star that I've been carrying with me for this mission. I've got it on we'll call it rental.
Stars are us. Rent a star.
Yes, something like that.
Do you need more healing, dear?
I can take care of it. I'll be okay. You guys good?
Yes.
I haven't felt better.
Never touched me.
It was nice to get a workout in, especially under the moonlight.
It's good to see you all being so cavalier about it. Right. So you never saw me. And I didn't see you here either.
Very well. Perhaps, Gleason, dear, we could use this to tell your grandfather about the thing, leave out the bit about Talus, and earn a couple points of favor.
What do you mean? Own up to the thing attacking us and destroying the shrubbery?
I mean, if you like, I could tell him I redecorated, but I don't think it's quite as believable.
I mean, it's clear, like there are claw marks of whatever astrophage means, but
And upon hearing you say that, she's gonna pause at the gate of the garden and she's gonna be like, I'm gonna need to stay and help explain this, aren't I?
no, you can go. We'll
Almost like a disease from the stars or something like that.
No, it just means Star Eater.
Okay, I can deal with Star Eater. That's definitely far more, normal.
Rolls off the tongue.
Okay,
A Star
you
Eater.
got this.
A Star Eater happened to come here, and we were able to defeat it before it wrecked the house.
And you still got my feather?
Excuse me?
I gave you one of my feathers the last time we spoke.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard father, and I'm like, we're already on a father journey here.
We have your
Yes,
feather, dear.
we still have your
Okay.
feather.
Good. In that case, if another one of these things turns up, don't hesitate to call me. I'm gonna go see if I can detangle. Oh, this is gonna be so much paperwork, and she's off.
As I'm just sort of standing there watching her creep off, and I just speak to anybody. Listen, like, is she some kind of spy from Mount Celestia or something? What is the deal with that?
Who knows? But my goodness, being lawful sounds like such a drag if it involves paperwork.
Right?
And I'm not sure what that is, but she's really weird.
Oh, Mount Celestia is like a very a plane of absolute lawful goodness, Unga.
Oh, well, I just thought it was a mountain, but I was talking about paperwork.
Oh. Good thing you don't know much about it. It's no fun.
Doesn't sound like it, and I can't believe she didn't think we knew how to fight.
I can't believe that she doesn't know how to fight.
Yeah, it seems like she's really in over her head.
Well, Louvel has likely woken everyone inside at this point, warning them of the impending doom that is no longer impending or doom.
And that was barely 12 seconds of doom.
Right. It was most definitely manageable. Though there's no telling how much Talus did to it before it got here.
Well, she said that she only calls forth starlight and it ate starlight, so I don't think she actually injured it, but it's possible.
No, she definitely did at least a little bit because Prudence was able to heal it with that radiant
Oh
damage.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So
And
how
she
long? How
seemed
long?
pretty scared of it for how, I mean, if it was like,
Maybe the bondage tiefling put up a fight before it got eaten.
oh yeah.
Dear, just so you know, that means something in certain circles, and it's not what you think.
Well, she's the one that said she had a tiefling in bondage.
Yes. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. Go ahead. You need to learn anyway. It's fine. At any rate, dear brother, and she looks at Galason, time to put that silver tongue to work.
I must, and I'll head inside to see, where people are, or are people gathered, or is there like some kind of panic room or any of that kind of?
They're basically just sitting in the dining room right now, and like there's a table pushed up against the door, which you pull the door open and it's just sitting there. It did nothing to block you because nobody thought that the hinges were on the other side. And like your grandfather's standing there with a staff held out ready to cast spells. Like Lubella's just kind of standing there with a hand on the sword hilt.
Crisis averted.
That quickly.
We are good at what we do. It was a star eater that was wandering through this area for whatever reason, and it trampled some hedges before we managed to put it down. I was out strolling in the moonlight when it came upon the yard, and I called forth my companions and sent it back to where it belongs.
It wasn't without casualties, though. Some of those topiary creatures didn't make it.
I will call someone in to deal with that.
Actually, darling, if you like, I could deal with it for you in the morning.
That would be splendid. Thank you. He says, not realizing you're probably going to like make bats and octopi and really crazy things.
Oh yes, I was absolutely going to make spiders.
Well, please do. They're my favorite animal. But they're not his.
Oh no. I was going to make spiders and bats primarily.
Now, if you'd like to kind of meet me in the middle, you can make a dog and a bat.
What if I made a spider dog and a bat dog?
What about a spider bat dog?
I've put forth my offering. Do it.
A man bear pig.
All right.
Well, I mean, if you want to go crazy, how about an abysder?
So the rest of the night goes by mostly uneventfully. You guys are able to get your long rest in. Breakfast happens in the morning, and Elia will motion for Vent to step aside with her at one point.
Oh, absolutely, my lady.
And she has a maul.
Oh.
And it's got a gem in the handle. And she's like, I had to well, the enchantment is in the gem, you understand. I just had it rush job reset in this weapon instead. It was a rapier before. But this is Spellbreaker.
Enchantress. What's his name?
Spellbreaker.
An enchantress. You're a mysterious woman. Hey, what's her name? Elia?
Elia, yeah. Elia.
Oh. This is an incredible gift you've given to me. I don't know how to thank you or repay you.
Well, thank me by keeping Sin alive.
I always do my very best to do that. In fact, he's kept me alive many times as well. You've got
Good.
quite a
I'm
boy
very
there.
glad to hear that. I'm glad that he has all of you.
We're glad too. I don't know what I'd do without him sometimes. Do you miss him?
A lot.
He sure misses you. He's talked about you many times over the years.
Well, that's good to know. And she does
Is-
seem genuinely pleased to hear that.
Do you like living here with your father? Are you, sure.
No.
Why don't you move away?
Well, I had a conversation with your sister last night, and I'm planning on doing just that. But after you guys are finished with your adventure in this area.
Well, Prudence is the wisest person I've ever met, so I would heed her words.
I can see why you would say that.
Well, I'll get down on my knee and hold this thing up to her and be like, I pledge to you, Aaliyah of House Tristel, that I shall wield Spellbreaker in defense of your son in your name.
And she looks absolutely delighted by this. Like, this is the first time anyone's bothered with such formalities with her. She's like, goodness.
I mean, it's what's expected of a noble to another.
Well, thank you.
I'd be honored if you would take. Wait, did she put the gem in my maul?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
she put it in a different maul. It's a different weapon.
Then I'll give that to her, and I'll
Okay.
tell her the story that's called Tail and how it actually is just a different maul than I've had, but I always name it Tail because I swing it like my father's Argenvar's dragon tail.
And she turns it over in her hands, and you can see the gears turning. She's absolutely going to go learn how to use this.
Yeah, all right, awesome. Can I tell that she seems that interested?
Yeah, you
I'll give her a
absolutely
few
can.
pointers. I'll be like, okay, you want to hold it like this, and let her take a few practice swings, guide her.
My father is going to absolutely lose his mind.
Sounds like a plan.
I am gonna die if Vent is the reason that Glacen's mom turns into a blade singer.
Hey, I'd be honored.
Late
And I'll
singing
tell
with
her
a
the
maul,
secret.
though?
Like, you can call it whatever you want. It's just a regular old maul.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
It's my honor.
All right.
Cool
So,
name.
you guys, you have breakfast. Is there anything that any of you would like to do here before heading back to the coast? Because this is the day that Myth is supposed to be coming in.
I would just like to have, we don't have to go into the details, but a touching departure with Mom. Try to encourage her as much as possible. I'm not privy to the conversation that she had with Prudence or with Vent.
Oh, if you think she's not showing off that maul to you, you are completely mistaken. She is extremely excited about learning to use this and going on her own adventure after you guys are finished here.
Well, I will spin tales and exaggerate the things that I've seen, the prince do with that particular weapon, and give it every bit the story that the name Tail could possibly imbue. Sell it so that it's already got a tradition, and that who knows, maybe with the belief of what she does, maybe it could become something even more than it already is.
Oh, she absolutely kisses you on the forehead before you go. Just embarrassing mom things.
Oh, I'm here for it. Sin's got problems with his grandfather, but he absolutely adores his mother, and knows that every bit that he saw of the struggle of his life, there had to be more of it on her that he didn't see. He's not super intelligent, but he's got above average wisdom, so he knows that she's got it hard too.
Your grandfather does not see you off.
I was hoping he wouldn't.
But Elia does ask you all back when you're in the area again, so there is that.
I would be delighted to, Mother.
Okay.
I would like
So-
to do two things.
Yes.
The first thing is I use a 3rd level spell slot to cast plant growth to make the entire entire garden just overgrown and looking with like it's basically made over to have like spiders and all sorts of like creepy imagery everywhere. Like all of the statuary looks more menacing now and has like these like plant accents that sort of just make it look a little bit more Addams Family. And
Spooky season.
oh yes. And then also I would like to just find Galayson's grandfather.
And you do.
Okay.
Standing upstairs on one of the balconies, watching you guys go and pretending like he doesn't care.
You know. And I would like to creep from behind him so that he doesn't hear me until he hears me. Just so you know, you can change because everything changes. And you can be better. And sometimes that is worth more than riches, than glory. Look down there at her. She points at his daughter. When she spoke about the adventurer that you used to be, her eyes glimmered just a little. And seeing how you treated her, how you allowed someone else at your table to treat her, took that glimmer away.
Make a persuasion check.
I got a 16 base plus, I don't know what my persuasion is. It's not very good, I think. 1, so 17.
I see. I understand that you came back into my house to lecture me again. And I am ever so graciously not going to hold that against you this time. But you can tell he's thinking about it.
Okay. She will, she'll just kind of meet his eyes. Like, you know, she knows what's going on in his,
That
like
he's
she's
trying to
almost
read her
giving-
thoughts.
she's basically giving him the like reverse of what Vent thinks the elves do to others.
You can do
And
that.
and she's just going to, like, while holding his gaze, say, you can still be the person that she thinks you once were.
I wasn't ever the person she thinks I was.
It doesn't mean you can't be. And then she'll just walk away.
And you hear him sigh on your way out. All
And-
right.
That just brings a smile to her lips that she will absolutely not let him know is there.
So, do you guys have anything else that you want to do in between here and the coast? Anything else that you guys need to get done?
Does grandfather offer up food?
And yeah, he'll give you food for the road and send you with food for the children
Yeah.
because he is going to ask you a favor when you get back to help him recoup the resources that he spent this way, but he is capitulating.
Works for me.
So you guys get to the coast where the broken down pirate ship is. You know, the kids greet you happily. You spend a morning with them getting ready for your own leg of the journey. And around noontime, a ship starts sailing in along the coast. And it is all dark wood and paint and blues and golds. It's all billowing white sails. And as it comes up along the coast, as it grounds itself, you see a familiar figure swinging down from the crow's nest and dropping onto the edge. And Myth leans over the side in full-on pirate regalia. She's got like the big hat. She's got the big ruffly, billowy shirt, and she's waving at all of you. And she's just like, "So I heard you needed a lift."
Well, you're a sight for sore eyes.
Well, so are all of you. Come aboard, come aboard. And she like motions for somebody to like put the plank down so you can walk up on, you know, the loading ramp and everything. And as you're coming closer, you notice the person standing behind her in one of those big like surcoats and also ruffles, his hands clasped behind his back like a modern major general. Except this man is a mind flayer. And that is where I'm going to leave you.
Ooh.
Ooh. I love
Man,
it.
this is ramping up.
A mind flayer
Shadow
first
beasts and
rate.
I love this.
There's
Yeah.
nothing that can go wrong there at all. Well, thank you for running, and thank everyone for hanging out with us. And come back next week so we can find out what's going on with this mind flayer first mate and Myth, and how I'm dying to find out how she got her pirate ship. But until next time, stay
Stay
nerdy.
nerdy.
Stay nerdy.